Hello everyone, welcome back to the TJOmega channel for day 1232 of our daily content grind, and welcome back to the Toy Store Life. So today we're going to be talking about just a general experience when it comes to toy stores like this, and I think a lot of this extends to pretty much anyone who works retail. I kind of just want to go through the type of customers that you are going to run into at a shop like this, and while it's kind of a universal experience, there is a particular flavor to this kind of thing when it comes to a toy and TCG shop. So some of these stories I've told before, some of them I have not. So we're kind of just going to be doing like a little anthology of various experiences I have had. And this is kind of all inspired by a rather recent and really unique one, where for the first time in the store's 4-year history, we actually provided service to a deaf customer. That was an interesting and fascinating experience. I don't know sign language, so the only way we had of really communicating was we got out our phones and we started just like pointing texts to each other. And thank God cell phones exist, because that actually makes it, that removes the language barrier considerably. So that is always that felt so much better. But this was compounded because after he left, he came back with another deaf friend. So now I'm trying to keep track of like the conversation they're having as best I can, because it's all body language. And I'm trying to field both of them with my phone now, which gets a little trying. But again, fascinating. Like absolutely fascinating. And good people too. Like the guy, like one of them was like really into Beast Wars. We have a Kingdom T-Rex he wants to come back for. But let's get into like general types of experiences and people you'll kind of expect to have. And one of the ones that little shops like this get are the friendlies. And this is obviously the favorite type. They're the customer who comes in and really does not do anything wrong. They don't overstay their welcome. They don't get frustrating. They are happy to have this shop as a service, as a contribution to the community, and they're good conversation. I have a lot of friendly customers who, maybe not friends, but acquaintances. I know them by name. I like talking when they are here. Some we'll trade stories and things about and they're just super nice, and it creates such a nice atmosphere in here, because you really should be able to come into a toy or TCG shop like this, a collectible store, and you should feel comfortable with not only the other people in the store, but the people that are working it as well. It's not just a source of information. I should be someone that they can kind of talk to and hang out with and just relate to, and it's one of the nice things about this. Like, I realize how many collectors are in my area and how many actually do know this kind of stuff the way I know it. But those are, honestly kind of the majority. Most of the customers I have, they're very, very nice. They talk, they don't like sit there and just, spend a million years in the store. That said, let's go into some of the ones who are different ends of the spectrum. On one end, we have InNOut. The InNOut customer is the type who just knows exactly what they want. They come in, they get it, they leave. Stores like this love their InNOut customers, especially on busier days. Like if you just want to pop in, grab your cards, pop out, we love that. We absolutely love that. I love talking to people. I love getting to interact. I love getting to know other geeks in the area. But you know what? I also love when things are just quick, simple, buy, out the door, and I don't have to overprocess or overthink it. Ultimately, I'm still kind of introverted. I can put myself out there for customers and for fans and all that, but ultimately, it's kind of like keeping to myself a little bit. So that helps. But no, little shops like this, and I have plenty of them too. I have a teacher who comes in from Magic the Gathering. He comes in, picks out his packs, and just kind of heads straight out the door. Doesn't sit there and open the packs, doesn't tell me about what kind of deck he's building. He's just kind of in and out. Completely pleasant conversation, but very brief. So we have a bunch of those too. And then we have the opposite. Then we have the talkers. The talkers who never, ever leave. Granted, some of them are my friends. And yeah, they sit and talk for hours. That's cool. That's fine. We don't get to hang out much because, we're busy. Our work schedules have opposing days off. So yeah, like it's nice as a chance to catch up and be friendly. That said, I have the opposite. I have customers who just like come in. I don't know them. I don't know their name, but they just come in and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. I had a family came in. And I think they kind of just left Grandpa at the counter while they browsed the store. And Grandpa was super into this idea he had for a card-based single-player Dungeons and Dragons experience. Like, he had invented this entire game. And he thought this was like the most novel idea. And I'm just trying to very gently indicate that kind of already exists. There's a lot of ways of playing one-player D&D these days. Yes, some of them are card-based, so you can have randomized events and things. This is not new. You have not invented anything. But I'm being very nice and subtle about it. But he keeps going and going. I hear about game mechanics, and it's very clear that he admits that he's never played an actual game of D&D, but he still has all these ideas based on it. And I'm trying to explain that, no, that's not how that works. You've got the completely wrong idea here. But none of this deters him. He just keeps going on. I literally at a point where I'm not trying to belittle his idea. I'm trying to educate the man, because that's what I do with this abundance of useless knowledge that I have collected that somehow comes in handy here. I'm trying to educate him. Let him know that maybe you're on the wrong track. Maybe you should be looking into something else. No, undeterred. This man is a juggernaut that will not stop until his entire concept is out there into the ether. And I can't get him to stop. This guy went on for 45 minutes and he never broke topic. I'm looking at the rest of his family, as he's kind of drifting off into what he's explaining. I kind of take little glances toward others at the shop, and I'm blinking twice. Please notice. Please help me. No help comes. So the opposite. So opposed to the talker, they're the other ones who stay for a while, but this is fine. The whales. I don't care what kind of TCG shop you run, you've got your whales. You love them because they're the ones who will spend ridiculous amounts of money with you. And that is always appreciated. I love a good whale coming in. That will make an entire week. Whales can sit and talk too, because they will tell you about the polls that they had. They will tell you about the cards they are after. They'll tell you about what other shops are doing, which, yeah, great for intel. And you know what? You can talk. You're going to drop 4 digits in this store today, and you're going to make my entire week. You can talk. I really don't care. You talk all you want. That is all you. That is all you. But you know what? That's fine. That is fine. The whales are fun. The whales are interesting. One of the scariest experiences I had in the store was a Magic the Gathering whale. Because it was someone who came in. We just put out a few really nice fancy boxes. I want to say the Magic set was Legendary Masters or Double Masters. It's one of the Master sets that was up to $30 a pack. And I had just opened the box up and put onto our Magic wall. And that same week, this guy comes in and he picks out, he asks for 5 packs of it. I give him the packs, he pays. And then he rips all 5 while he's there. Didn't like what he got. Give me 6 more. Okay, all right, 6 more. There you go. All right. Oh, rips them right there in front of me. Didn't like what he got. Give me more. We repeat this cycle until every pack is gone. This is a 30-pack box, and he went through all of it. It was to the tune of over $700 this guy spent. because he was pulling until he got something he really wanted and never got anything. Now, it's important to note, I had seen this guy before. After this incident, have never seen him again. So I don't know if this was like the moment of like, oh wow, I'm the realization moment that he's like being incredibly reckless with his income, or maybe running up $700 on a credit card in one day isn't a good idea on cardboard. That was like scary just to watch someone like financially ruin themselves in real time. And of course, this is a little shop. This is not a bar where I go like, okay, I need to cut you off because now you're getting close to being a danger to yourself. Technically, he's not a danger to himself. He's just very fiscally irresponsible. And I can't do anything about that. Except reap the benefits, I guess. So aside from whales, what else do we have? We have the Wanderer. And the Wanderer is the one who will come in and just meander. Just endlessly meander. They'll walk the far side of the store. They will thumb through every peg full of action figures to see each and every one that I have. They will take them off to look at the back to see if it's like some weird variant or the specific numbered figure that they are missing. They'll put it back and they'll wander a couple more pegs over. They'll do the same thing over here. And then they'll go through each and every aisle. They'll zigzag through the aisle like they're sewing stitches and look through everything I've got 2-3 times over. They're just wandering around. Like, do you have a hobby? Is there anyone who is currently wondering where you are? And granted, some people are just bored and they just want to browse, and that's fine, and I've done that. I have meandered at a collectibles store for 2 hours at a time, but those are usually very large stores. I go to Acme Superstore in Tampa, or I go to Tate's in Fort Lauderdale. I can wander those stores for well over an hour and feel like I still need to look at other things. That's just how it goes sometimes. You like being in the vibe. But this is a tiny little shop. To be honest, you can probably see everything that we have to offer in about 10 minutes. So how we have wanderers who've been here for an hour or more baffles me. And the weirdest thing about wanderers like this, they don't really want to talk. They just kind of want to browse. Like I would understand if you actually want to have a conversation, you enjoyed hanging out, but you're just kind of here. They're just kind of existing. Oh, by the way, 9 times out of 10, the Wanderer doesn't buy anything. They just take up space for an hour and leave. We have, I'm in the wrong store, but I'm staying anyway. Now, typically, someone will wander into the store and go, they'll ask like, where are your PS5 games? Or they will ask you, like, do you have, do you have canasta boards? Elderly people have asked me for canasta boards 5 times that I can remember. Probably more. But when I say no, they'll just, when I tell them no and explain like, well, it's not that kind of toy store. And like, oh, they'll usually just kind of like up and leave. But there are the ones who will stay no matter what. Okay, if you came in for PlayStation games and found out, oh, it's not a video game store, but you're still kind of curious. Okay, fine, that's fine. The ones who are problematic are usually the grandparents. It's usually the grandparents who come in and ask for some traditional toy. Like, they're asking for toy planes or toy trains. They're asking for plush toys. And, like, I'll tell them, like, no, it's really not that kind of store. We have collectibles, like older 80s, 90s toys. And they go, oh, well, okay, well, maybe we'll find something. And they just meander. They just meander. I told them right from the beginning, you didn't have to do this. You're not going to find anything you're after. I even offer, what are they into? What's your grandkid into? Like, oh, he likes trains and planes. I'm like, well, I already told you we don't have trains and planes. Can you, can you like book a flight out of here for me, please? Like, they will stay. And the more frustrating is when they come in and they do the meandering, then ask. It's when the person comes in, wanders the store for, 20, 30 odd minutes, and then comes to me and goes, "Do you have yo-yos?" No, 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 I really don't. No, the only yo-yo we have is the guy who just bought all the Magic the Gathering packs I had in that $700 box. And bless their hearts, they're trying. They're just trying to make their grandkid happy, but, like, I'm trying to save you your day, because you will need to drive to a different store in order to accomplish this goal. I'm trying to get you out of here 30 minutes faster. Again, harmless. Don't get this twisted. I'm not angry at these people. It's just you run into them, or they run into you. We have the know-it-all. Know-it-alls are fun because they can either be, like, really antagonizing and, like, really aggressive, like how much more they know about than you. That don't happen with me. I get matched from blow for blow. But really it's more just like the ones who are super excited and just know what they're doing, what they're talking about. I have a kid. My know-it-all who comes in here usually is a kid. He's like 12. Like 12 or 13. But he's chronically online looking up all this stuff about old 80s and 90s figures. He's really, really into like late 80s, early 90s Kenner Batman toys. That's his thing. Or like he'll go and get like my old school like Marvel toys. Like if you ever see like the old 90s style toys on the gray card, those. Like those real old toy business. Those are the ones he likes. And which is fascinating to me that like a kid is so fascinated with vintage toys with only 5 points of articulation and not any like the Marvel Legends with 30, Fascinating to me. Like super cool. Like good for him. Like he's into something that's atypical for a collector of his age. That's pretty cool. I kind of like that. But yeah, he knows so much. He knows the rare variants. He knows like why certain toys are designed in certain ways. Like he knows about that ID thing, that ID thumbnail they printed on G.I. Joe molds so you could tell a real one from a fake one. He knows about that stuff. Way too knowledgeable about this. I can tell he spends all of his free time on toy wikis. The bargainer is someone that you will always run into in a shop like this. No matter what you have it priced at, there's going to be people who are upset about the price. Like, I'm sorry, these are rare collectibles. They're going to be worth something. And a lot of times it's with TCGs. Now, the trick to a TCG is we don't get the deal that other places do. Ultimately, these stores can charge whatever they want. If they want to be competitive, yes. If they want to keep the lights on, they charge a bit more. When like the last Pokemon came out, we charged a little bit more because it costs us more to get a hold of it. The thing you don't know is we get scalped on our prices from the distributor sometimes too. But some places charge like 120, 150 a box, which is great on, to get your money that one day. But those people are never going to shop with you again because you're ripping them off on day one. That's scummy. But the one, but there's the point being, there is always a reason for the price that you see. And a lot of times it is based on how much money we have invested in it. But there are always those who will come in and they think everything is negotiable. They think everything it has, like they can work a deal. Now, if you're one of my whales that spends 4 digits, I'm gonna work a deal with you. You can take a little bit off the top to take, just so like just to take the edge off the purchase. That's all well and good. I'm not going to complain about that in the least. But it's the people who want to just... I've had people in here who will literally refuse to buy something because I won't take $3 off of a already completely fair price. And then I'll have people go into the card store and look like... I'll go over to the card section and go like, well, that's not the price on TCG Player. I'm like, I don't care what their price is. This is the price that we need to sell it at because this is how much, we have such and such paid into it. We're charging MSRP. I will charge MSRP and people will still complain about that. It's like, well, it's cheaper in this store. I don't care what that store is doing. We need to keep the lights on. And while it sounds rude, like it's true. It's true. You know, if it costs us $100 to buy a box of Pokemon, I need to make $150 for it. You know, I need to have at least some kind of profit margin. You know, I'm not one of these shops that, you know, buys them for 100, sells them for 110, and still somehow makes a profit on all that. You know, things like that. And they are the frustrating ones. Because you know they have the money, but they're going to be super picky. I don't get it. Don't get it. You have the opposite, which is the investor. The investor really only cares about the value price. They barely care about the toy. They are there to make a profit. So it's the people who will buy Pokemon and then they're never going to open it. They're just going to buy it as cheap as they can, sit on it for about 10 years, and then sell it off. They do the same thing with Funko Pops. Like the investor is the Funko Pop collector who will come in and they will scan the barcode on each and every individual pop I have just to find the ones that they can turn a dime on. Now, granted, a shop like this, you're not going to find many things, but you will find some things that you could potentially do. And they're more interested in just like how much value the toy is going to have, how much value the cards that are potentially in this pack are going to have. And like, you need joy in your life. Like, I'm sorry, like, if this is just like a cold investment to you, learn the stock market. Don't get into toys. Don't invest in TCGs. I know it's super tempting to think that you can spend, you know, $5 on a pack of cards and get $1,000 card out of it if you're lucky. But like, you're using Pokemon cards as scratch-off tickets. You'd have an easier time just getting scratch-off tickets. It's exactly the same experience. I'm sorry, it is. Oh, and guess what? You don't have to go through PSA to get the full value of a lottery ticket if it's a good one. Things like that. You know, like, I don't like the investor. Now, I like people who want to have fun with their toys. Not necessarily take them out, but just like, if you wanna keep a hold of something because it's unopened and it's really special to you, okay, that's fine. I have nothing against that. But if you're looking at it solely as a money-making prospect, I got news for you. That is entirely random. Whether or not it becomes valuable, you are most likely wasting your money. So be a little bit more responsible, as we've learned in this video. Okay, let's get to the final two categories. I know this is running long for a toy store life, but hey, there's a lot of customers to be aware of. Let's get to the two that you actually want to hear about. The Karens. Now, shops like this really do not get Karen experiences. Because the people who find a store like this, we're a little tucked away, you have to seek us out. They genuinely want to be here. Karens usually come from a place of, I'm stuck being here, I don't want to be here. You know, and I'm in an establishment where I am entitled and I am more important than the worker and they need to do everything I say, and if they don't meet my expectations, I need to see the manager. I've never had a true Karen here. I've had a grandmother who is like super salty and just being really rude to me and just like talking down to me a bit. But the granddaughter kind of cooled that off a lot. She's just salty because she's out and about. The granddaughter's dragging her all over town. She doesn't want to be there. That's all that boiled down to. Now, when this store had a second location in the mall, that's the only time I ever ran into a real Karen. And that's because her kid was running around with $100 box of action figures. And all I really said was, like, ma'am, can you please keep him from doing that? You know, because he's trying to, like, run out the door with it. You know, he's running really close to the other fixtures. Like, I don't want him, like, slamming it and, like, cutting the value in half. Oh, something I learned that day. If you want to find out if a woman is a Karen or not, tell her that she's not taking care of her kid properly. She immediately gets angry. She immediately wants the manager's name and number. She is going to write me up for daring to say that she needed to have her kid not running wild like a wildebeest in the store. Yeah, I didn't get in trouble for that. I heard she made a phone call. Owner didn't care. This happens. She's a psycho. It's really the only Karen I've run into, you know, and, you know, entirely based on like I think it's perfectly reasonable to like not want a kid running around with an incredibly valuable piece of item. I'm sorry. I am sorry. At that point, I'm just wondering, like, you either need to take care of you either need to raise your kid, you know, to respect other people's property and respect the property of the store, or you need to keep a better eye on your kid. Like, you like either keep him under control or teach him not to do this kind of thing. One or the other. I'm sorry. You screwed up. If they're doing one or the other, you screwed up. And then there are the fun ones. The Crazies. Oh, the Crazies are interesting. They are the people who will wander in here, and I'm not even sure they're aware it's a toy store. I think they hit the kava bar too hard. It also reminds me that there's a dispensary 1 block over. But the Crazies will come in here and give me the stories. And I've told stories before. We had one in here who just pulls up on an electric scooter. That's it. He doesn't have a car. He just goes all around town on an electric scooter. And he'll come in here with like just normal shirt and shorts, nothing fancy. Not the best kept guy, worn out shoes, and then drop $1,000 on Pokemon. This is a man who once told me about a girl that he moved here in order to be with because she was having a kid, and then he'll tell me that, cut the story off, and then go back to tell me about the value of cards that he wants to find. And then at some point, like, I'll bring that story up again about, like, his girl and the kid, and like, I don't have a kid. You just mentioned, never mind. I'm going to get into something I don't want to hear about. This is a man the same man on a later trip was like so enamored by the fact that I actually had the Pokemon cards he wanted so bad, he genuinely asked if I was an angel. Not metaphorical, biblical. Nope, not to my knowledge. Not aware. This is a man who once handed me a card. It was just a normal Pikachu card in a normal top loader. But to the top of the top loader, he has affixed a label that he printed himself in black and white with no real logo, just like something he just like quick typed on a computer because this was his grading company that he was starting up. This was his grading. And this was a Gem Mint 10 Pikachu he gave me. I'm going to be real with you. I looked at this card. It's definitely not a Gem Mint 10. But this was his plan. To buy up all these Pokemon cards at retail price. And he's buying the fancy stuff, so above retail price. Take them home, open them up, and all the good cards he's going to compile together. He's going to open up his own card shop here in the same town as me. Just sell him all the individual ones that he has hand graded himself to determine that they are worth $700, $800, $900. I don't have the heart to tell him that that's not how that works. I don't. Probably the oddest character I have ever encountered in this store. Frankly, like his story, like his stuff is so weird. Like I can't even remember all of it offhand. I'd have to go look at my notes because I had to write notes for this. But that's the general idea. Obviously, there are other customer types you're going to run into in a store like this because, everyone is different. Everyone has their own brand of crazy, which is, the spice of life. That's all good, well and good. But yeah, it gets odd. Some of them are fun. Some of them are weird. Some of them are off-putting. But, that's just the kind of people you run into on a daily basis when you work this shop. It's not like a normal retail experience. You're going to get a lot of different things and you're going to get a lot of extremes. And you just have to learn how to handle them all. And some is fine and some is dicey. But you know what? That's how it goes. That's the toy store life.
You've been waiting a long time, haven't you? But the wait's almost over. You're about to meet the brightest star in the universe. We're going to make an impact.